So, I had a visitor at the last minute. He came along. He's quite old, but the fact that he came out and asked to be petted, I had to just pick him up. And I do not know why I'm reading these books. I do have some P.N. Elrod's. I like the Spell Singer series. I've done some Jim Butcher's, the Dresden Files. I've done some of those. Oh, Casanova, you need to be brushed. But I think this is the second time, that I've been with this author. And I'm doing it because of my friend. Oh, welcome to the Dealey's book series. I'm Christina, K-I-S-T-I-N-A. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no demon, none of that special stuff going on here. And so, my friend gives me these books. And she knows some of my history. But she's younger than me, and we have some cultural differences, I guess. Just time period wise. You know, her teenage years were the thousands. My teenage years were the 80s. So there's a difference there. A generation kind of difference there. And when someone has a miscarriage and you mourn that child because you had to give birth to that child and they were well over a pound in weight, but they were just shy of lung development, and back then they didn't have all this technology, and they give you a book where the first thing that happens is the chick has a miscarriage, you're like, not really. But there are some people out there that like, oh, give me a book that's gonna make me cry my eyes out. I am not one of those people. I read to escape life. I don't want books to make me depressed. I want to escape the real life. So, we move on to book 2. Now, we met the girl in book 1. We rescued her from those people that killed her child. And we bonded. And I'm telling you, it's got that Clan of the Cave Bear feeling. It really does have that serious Clan of the Cave Bear feeling. And so we marry this girl, and we're gonna take her home to mom. And mom's like, ugh. What do you do? So, newly married Fawn Bluefield and Dog Redwing. He is a seasoned Lake Walker patrol. And he returns to Dagwood's home camp, hoping to mend some fences, reunite with his family, blah, blah, blah. And their union causes friction, sparks suspicion, hostility, and outright rejection among some of the peoples. Dagwood tries to protect his community from rising magical threats. Fawn must navigate the Lake Walkers' camp's prejudice and family drama, especially from Dag's mother and brother. They do not like her at all. Do not like her. So where are my notes here? I had this notes here. Dagwood's mother and brother act as antagonists. They embody entrenches biases of their community. Their opposite is personal and political, pushing Dag and Fawn to the margins. They don't want them. They're outcasts. They don't need them. The malices emerge as a new threat, forcing Dag to go back on patrol. He goes back on patrol. He leaves Fawn back there, and that leaves her vulnerable to all the stuff from the family and the community, which is not good. There's some magical stuff going on. It's really just not for me. It really isn't. So these magical forces come up, trying to force Dagwood to resume his patrol duties. Fawn is left behind. to deal with the family, etc., etc., etc. I'm trying to think here. Is that already? So our main couple of characters is Fawn and of course Dag, and then Ark Addy Water Birch is Dagwood's mentor and fellow patrollo. Weren't they in the first book? Wasn't that the person he had the conversation under the tree with? He's a voice of reason and support, helping Dag navigate the fallout of his controversial choices. Sumac is Dagwood's niece. She tries to support them a little bit, but she gets caught in the middle. Whit Bluefield is Fawn's brother, and he's trying to get along with everybody himself. And then, of course, there's his mother, who is no ends ifs or buts about against the whole thing. She just doesn't want anything to do with Fawn. She's got it's almost like a racist thing. She believes her thing is cultural superior to Fawn's people. And the marriage just stirs up so much different stuff. It's just not my cup of tea. It just isn't. But we still have the sharing knife passage. They're looking more and more like farmers to me. You know what I'm saying? And the horizon here. But let's see what this says in here. Fawn Bluefield, the clever young farm girl, and Dagwood Redwood Hickory, the seasoned lake warrior soldier sorcerer, have been married all of 2 hours when they depart her family's farm for Dagwood's home at Hickory Lake Camp. Having gained a hesitant acceptance from Fawn's family for their unlikely marriage, the couple hopes to find a familiar reception among Dagwood's Lake Walker kin. Not gonna happen. No ands, ifs, or buts. Not gonna happen. A faction of Hickory Lake's camp denying the literal bond between Dag and Fawn, woven in blood in the Luke Walker magical way, even goes so far as to threaten permanent exile for Dag. So now you gotta choose her or us. Do they want this warrior protecting them? Do they want to give up a protector? Or will they accept her? Because if they accept him, they need to accept her. And it doesn't look promising at all for these two. Dag had been married for 2 whole hours and was still lightheaded with wonder. He's so happy, and they go to his parents' place, and they're like, "Get out! We don't want you here. We don't want her kind here." Blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, that happens quite a bit. How many times do you hear in stories where, the especially in richer societies, back in the early days, where a lady had to marry for social status. She couldn't marry the janitor or the servant. She had to marry someone of her social status or be an outcast to her family or risk being disowned or something like that. So, but this time it's on his end of the world. Her family loves her and is going to do blah, blah, blah. But his family, on the other hand, seems to have higher, they believe they're higher up than her. For her family, maybe he's a step up, but for his family, she's a step down. And his family is just not going to accept that at all. But it's just, they were making ready to lie down in their bedroll before Dag reported his conversation with his brother and Fairbolg to Fawn. From the brevity of his description compared to the time he'd been gone, Fawn suspected he was leaving out a good bit. More than these clipped essentials had cast him into his dark mood. Brothers can do that. But his explanation of the camp council was frightening enough. In the light of their candle stub atop Dag's trunk, which did for their bedside table. Fawn sat cross-legged and said, 7 people can just vote us to be banished just like that? Not quite. They have to sit and hear arguments from both sides, and they'll each speak with other folks around their islands, gather opinions before delivering a ruling of this gravity. So they're actually considering banishing him from their land completely. Here is this guy who has spent his life protecting his family and standing up as one of their top superior warriors, but because he married beneath him, in their eyes, they're gonna kick him out. How unfair, how unjust is that? How rotten is that? But it's a very, you read about it, it's a very common thing in books and in history. It's happened so many times in history. Somehow I thought your people not liking me being here would take the form of, I don't know, leaving a dead, rotten animals outside our doorstep in the morning, nasty tricks like that. Fellows in masks setting fire to our tent or sneaking from the bushes and beating you up or shaving my head or something. Does that sound like the 1880s here with the Civil War stuff? A mask won't hide who you are from ground sense. Anyone wants to do something that ugly around here, they sure can't do it in secret. That would slow them up, I guess. And yes, this isn't a matter for boys' tricks. Our marriage cords, if nothing else, draw it up to another level together. Serious dilemmas take serious thought from serious folk. Shouldn't we be making a push to talk to those serious folks too? Tell our side of the story? Yes, no. This shoves me in exactly the worst actions to ease you in here smoothly. Drawing attention, forcing folks to choose sides. I wanted to lie low, and while everyone was waiting for someone else to do something, let the time for choosing just slip by. I figured a year would do it. They're not letting him take that time. They want it done now. He thought he could come in and hang out. They would get used to Fawn. She would eventually slowly integrate herself into the community. But his side of the family is not having it. They are not having it. No ands, ifs, ands, or buts about it. They want her gone yesterday. And because he has pledged his love and his heart, if she's gone, then he's gone. And if he is gone, they lose one of their protectors. So, nevertheless, Dog began the next morning to show their presence more openly by taking Fawn out in the narrow boat for plunkin delivery duty. The first step was to paddle out to a gathering raft, which over the first season had worked its way nearly to the end of the arm of lake and would shortly start back on the other side. Come here. Come here. Come here. Do you want to hear the story? Come here. Come here. Sit down. Sit down. Don't sit down. Lake walkers of various ages, sexes, and states of undress manned the 10-foot square lashing of tree trunks, which seemed to be munching its way down a long stretch of water lilies. Dag saluted an older woman who seemed to be in charge. A couple of naked boys rolled a load of plunkins into the narrow boat that made it ride alarmingly low in the water. After polite farewells, Dag and Fawn pulled off again. Go! And they did it a couple more times. Dag waved or called howdy to folks in other boats along the shore, seemingly the custom here, and exchanged short greetings with anyone working on the dock as their boats pulled up, introducing Fawn to enough new folks that she quickly lost track of the names. No one was spiteful, though some looked bemused, but few of the return stares or greetings seemingly really warmed to her. After a while, she thought she would have preferred rude or at least blunt questions to this silent appraisal. But the little ordeal came to an end soon when they climbed back up the bank to Tent Bluefield, where lunch, Fawn reflected, was being served. They repeated the exercise on the next 4 mornings until the raft folk and the dock folk stopped looking at them in surprise. In the afternoons, Fawn began to help Sally with the task of spinning up her new pumpkin flax, and for more novelty, aid Cactus with his rope braiding, one of his several sitting down camp chores that did not strain his labored lungs. So, she is working her way into the family, into the neighborhood, into the community. Will they accept her by the end of the book? Or are we going on a journey in passage? You'll have to tune in to find out. Have a good one.